Okay guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Today's video, we're going to critique Bird Box. Now, spoiler alert, I am going to give away a couple of scenes as I talk about the things that went wrong in the movie or the things that could have been prevented in the movie from a prepper standpoint, of course. Now, the movie I thought was really good. A lot of people didn't like it. I'm not really sure why. I don't watch a lot of the survival movies and prepper movies or disaster movies. Sorry, from a prepper standpoint, I don't always do that. Sometimes I catch myself doing it. But in this case, Bird Box was a different kind of a movie because it was something that you would have never seen coming, whether it was real life or even in fantasy world, which the movie is. Usually we prepare for, on the realms of fantasy, we prepare for zombies, alien attacks, different weird shit that people like to prepare for. But this one was pretty cool. So the synopsis of the movie is there's an entity or entities, sorry, that infect people by vision or through vision, right? So you'll see something and you can't make heads or tails of what it is. It turns you crazy. You wind up killing yourself. That's the movie in a nutshell, right? It's almost like The Happening, except for in The Happening, the trees were giving off a chemical that turned off your flight and fight response and had you put yourself in harm's way. So it's almost the same thing, but I think Bird Box is a little cooler because they dived into the whole after effects of the world being affected by this entity years later. Okay, so there were two problems in the movies that I saw. If there were any other problems that you saw, please leave it in the comment section below. I am focusing on the two major issues that I saw that put people in a shitty situation that didn't need to be put there, right? So the first one was letting people in without a security check. For the lack of a better term, security check, okay? So now, in the movie, there's a character named Gary, right? Gary is the character that turns the movie around. He is the psychopath who is running around outside because crazy people in this movie, they can handle the crazy shit that they see. Therefore, they're not affected the same way as a regular person, if you will. So Gary is hiking around outside looking for places to, I guess, destroy. He comes across the house. A lady named, I think I'm saying it wrong, I'm not sure, I think it's Olympia. She lets Gary in. Gary comes in the house and Sandra Bullock's character in the movie flips out. John Malkovich's character, Douglas, he also flips out. No, we're not going to have this. This is not happening. You need to go back outside. John Malkovich was trying to get him to go back outside. Everybody else in the house said, no, Gary can stay. John Malkovich put up a little bit of a fight. Douglas, I'm sorry, put up a little bit of a fight. They knocked Douglas on the back of his head, put him in the garage, and that was that. With that, Sandra Bullock's character, Mallory, and Olympia, who's played by Danielle McDonald, both go into labor at the same exact time, right? I mean, why not in a movie like that? So they both go into labor at the same time. Everybody goes upstairs to attend to the ladies. John Malkovich's character, Douglas, is still in the garage, and Gary is downstairs doing his crazy shit, right? He starts his crazy crap. He starts doing a crazy man dance and laying papers out on the table, which were probably the entities that were seen by various people, or maybe even seen by him in different stages. So with that, no one's paying attention to Gary. Gary's starting his crazy shit. The long short of it is, Gary winds up infiltrating the home and changing the dynamics forever by getting people killed and or killing people. So he kills John Malkovich by his own hands, and everyone else dies by the entity's hands, if you will, after he rips the covers off the windows, and now people are looking outside at the entities, getting crazy and killing themselves. The point to that is, don't let anyone you don't know in your home. Yes, if the shit is on and is that bad out there, and you have stragglers, you got to interview them, you got to watch them, you got to quarantine them from everybody else. And quarantine doesn't just mean quarantine them because they have a disease or they're sick. It also means watching them, making sure they don't do any crazy shit, picking up on some of the lingo that they're using. You're going to pick up on a couple of things to see, all right, this guy's on the level. Let's trust him a little bit. And even when you start trusting them, You give them a little bit of a trust at a time. You don't throw it all at them at once and say, welcome to my home. Because what happened? Gary stabbed everyone in the back and killed better than 90% of the house, right? Only 2 people survived. Mallory and Tom, who's played by Trevante Rose, are the 2 survivors after Gary's bullshit. And the 2 kids that were born, by the way. Second problem was there were no guards. There was no watch, fire watch, whatever you want to call it. There was nobody watching the home. Everybody pretty much slept at the same time, right? So if night fell and it was like 11 o'clock or midnight, everybody went to sleep at the same time. There was no one watching over the home, which there is no circumstances on this planet you would ever do that in a disaster scenario. In a disaster scenario, somebody's staying awake. Unless you live out in the middle of a bumblefuck somewhere and your house is like 3, 4, 5 hours driving from the nearest town or city, maybe you can get away with that, right? Because you can set up some alarms along the way leading to your house, and you'll hear it, wake up, and go into action. But if you're still inside of a town or city, going to sleep at night is not an option. You're going to have to stay awake. You're going to have one person stay awake and do it in shifts. You can have one person stay up for the entire 8 hours while everybody else is up during the day, and that guy sleeps during the day, or vice versa, not vice versa, sorry, or you have everybody do 1 hour shifts or 2 hour shifts, whatever it is. Make sure you have somebody up watching what's going on. You don't know who might be trying to break into the home. You don't know if something's going on outside of the home while you're sleeping. You have to have a roving guard or a guard of some kind keeping eyes on the home. All right, guys, so that was my critique or my 2 issues with Bird Box and how to not end up in a situation like that if something similar to that happens. And I'm not talking about the entities. I'm just talking about a disaster scenario where you need to implement security and watch who you let in your home. All right, guys, so this is the Angry Prepper. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. You can like and subscribe to this channel. You can also like and subscribe to my outdoor channel. And if you're into photography, you can also head over to the Angry Lensman channel and like and subscribe to that. All right, guys, thank you for watching.